I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework. I have so much homework now.
You just can't win. Out of the rain and into the gutter.
Math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Oh, I found something while you were away. I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does. Just what Dick Mullen would ask. I got it from behind the curtains. I'm not really supposed to go there. Yes, just like the one Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that. Right, I have to get back to my homework now, before Mum notices. Man, this is hard.
Because you know each other. She's been talking to you so openly because you've talked before.
Yes, I used to stand out there all the time, before Mother told me to focus on my homework. You've been running around all week without your shirt on, sir, apologising to everyone. I don't really understand what you've done wrong. Of course, you've stopped by a few times. You certainly look better than the last time I saw you. Yeah, I can see. You don't have party eyes anymore.
Party eyes? Yes, of course. That makes sense.
You know, like a cat in the dark, all big and wide-eyed. It certainly looks odd on a man.
The swiveling eyes of a loony drug addict. That is what she meant. You were probably gurning too. Good thing she didn't say party eyes loud. Her mother's nearby. Fuck yeah. You should get some party eyes right now. Snap those sequins on you, boy. Oh baby, that's not what you have to worry about. Worry about the important thing.
I didn't know I had to do that. I'm glad I could help you, sir. No, sir, I can't. It would be too tiring to refrain from it. It's already tiring enough to remember to say it all the time. It's nice of you to say I could stop, though. By your command.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Cypar, over Saint-Brun and Martinez North. Finally, coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Detective, you're the one in charge. What is this place? Yes, but no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a ray of streetlight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same Slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Not quite. You do know that there's something unusual about this company's business model. Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then, past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
The radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth drawer, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good evening, Fortress Accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat, is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. Yes. Is that the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress Accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Indian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins, translucent welkins, with organs shining under their skin. You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but one of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms. Dead entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world." As this is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI. It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, the handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: call in, tune out, Wirral untethered, and heat death of the universe. The full text reads, heat death of the universe is the new black. Another note says, the biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the third. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123 unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi, Insulinda. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. Jamais vu. Derealization. Jamais vu. The opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now. That's the feeling you've been having.
Okay, what do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, that is the question.
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle box.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master Frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but I don't think so. I think they genuinely believe. Okay, let's keep moving.
An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one's home. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts now. If this is really an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Why do you think there's something on the other side, necessarily? In any case, there's no way we can get in right now. Let's investigate further.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun. The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on a filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge. Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here. That's a plausible hypothesis.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice beer fridge, and the black one to some kind of a buzzing fridge-like thing nearby. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only...
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying or what's producing them.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then...
Hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer. You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest. But one catches your eye, a bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. Seems like an old bunker from the Revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to some kind of a buzzing fridge-like thing nearby. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board. Only the red cable is plugged into the breaker box, while the black one lies neglected. Somewhere, a machine hums along with the current, happy and contented. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of dye are you looking for?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there is any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shelves like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids, and lately I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. I've grown crafty over the years. You'll like your dice if you get them from me. Be sure of it. Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. I think I have just the right one for you. You're a police officer, right? Here, catch. They're a gift from me.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it. Mr. Smooth moves. You snatch the dice out of the air with one hand, just like you're in a movie.
Oh, what are the odds? The red one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay, and the blue one is the inverse. I believe these dice are your lucky charm, officer.
She winked back at you. Can you believe it? You truly are Mr. Smooth Moves.
You definitely need luck in Martinez. Was there anything else? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energy spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the Whirling in Rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
What, so the curse only affects people with poor work ethics? What you're describing isn't a curse, it's capitalism. Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. but I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see. The bookstore closes starting 2100. You'll have to do that tomorrow. You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Officer!
Undressing in a stranger's place of business? Yes, it was an unbelievably bad idea.
Miss, I apologize for my colleague's behavior. He's still recovering from an unusual medical episode.
That doesn't really excuse it, does it?
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth? Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Fritte does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool.
Oh, I totally understand. Anything else? Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff medias.
What's the snuff, Milia?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to let...
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-Roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is... And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin and, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Really? Anyway. They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as...
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them? Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time. Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die.
Anything else? Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut, it's about the confidence.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion.
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom. albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the doomed commercial area. The dark...
Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. We can pick up where we left off tomorrow morning.